The IRS has just released updated tax brackets, standard deductions, and other things for 2025 that you need to know so that you can plan ahead. I've got that and more coming up. My name is Mike Bernard. I'm the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. Every year about this time, the IRS is updating the numbers for next year. And all right, here are tax brackets, here are deductions, here's what we're doing with credits and so on. And this is all helpful because you need to be planning ahead. I've shared many times, tax planning is one of the 6 areas of your financial life. It impacts so many financial decisions, key financial decisions. Tax planning is different from tax preparation. Tax preparation is reactive. You're trying to get the right number in the right box. What happened last year? Let me fill out an accurate tax return and be in compliance. Tax planning, however, is proactive. It's looking at opportunities that could exist for you to pay the least amount of tax over your lifetime, if not multiple lifetimes, and therefore knowing, even though there might not be an enormous change, I'll share the changes here in a second, knowing what the tax brackets are going to be for next year and some of the other finer details will help you plan for today. Should you do a Roth conversion? How much this year? Do you expect to do a Roth conversion next year? Those sorts of things. So the IRS released their updates, and when it comes to tax brackets, not an enormous change, guys. Not an enormous change. Oftentimes, they stretch the tax brackets a little bit to adjust with inflation to make sure that there isn't, tax creep where, okay, they're keeping the brackets really low even though inflation is pushing income higher. Like what actually happens with taxation of Social Security. We've shared that several times. On average, the increase that you're going to see here, the expansion of tax brackets, is about a 2.8% increase. It's not going to move that much. So here are the tax brackets for 2025. Tax rates are staying the same, 10%, 12%, 22, 24, and so on. So that's not changing. The big news will be whether that changes in 2026. Right now, we are on schedule to sunset those back to the tax laws or tax rates, from 2017. So those rates would be 10, 15, 25, 28, and so on. But tax rates are staying the same. Just the brackets are expanding a little bit. And like I said, on average about 2.8%. What does that mean? Very little difference in the 10% tax bracket. It's not going to stretch that much. The 12% tax bracket, it's going to stretch a couple thousand. And then each bracket thereafter, it's going to stretch a little bit more. So ultimately, that's good news. Hopefully, you've got higher income and so on, and this allows you that higher income to still keep you in these manageable tax brackets. But there's the update there for the size of the tax brackets in 2025. Next, what about the standard deduction? That got a little bit of an increase as well, not much. Married filing jointly, around $30,000 is your standard deduction. So that again remains at that elevated level that was increased back in the Tax Cut and Jobs Act back in late 2017. And so fewer and fewer people are itemizing their deduction. You'll get this higher standard deduction instead, unless you can itemize and get to a higher number. Personal exemptions, those were left behind as well. So personal exemptions are 0, but slightly higher standard deduction as well. Child tax credit. Now, we got to hit on this as well because there was a bill out there that was attempting to change the refundable portion of the child tax credit. It was intending to raise it and then all of a sudden, get it all the way up to a full refundable tax credit. Well, the IRS announced that the refundable portion of the tax credit is staying at $1,700. The child tax credit remains $2,000, but the refundable portion is $1,700. So this bill, I'm assuming, murmuring, it's still out there. They're still working on trying to pass it, but it hasn't passed yet. What does that mean? Well, if you have a child younger than 17, and why does it go away at 17? I have no idea. They were being mean, like brutal. That the 17th birthday is not significant, but yet for whatever reason, the child tax credit goes away when your child turns 17. So if you have a child younger than age 17 and your income is below a certain amount, $400,000 and change, married filing jointly, then you can get this tax credit. all of your income, add it up, minus your deductions, gets you to your taxable income. That taxable income is multiplied by the various tax rates in the brackets. That calculates your tax, and then you subtract credits. Credits are dollar for dollar reductions in your tax bill. Well, if you've got a decent amount of tax, and then this child tax credit would take $2,000 right off of that. Well, what if you had enough deductions or other credits where all of your tax was wiped out? Well, then, if you still had child tax credits that were left over, that were basically credits against no tax, well, do you just get that $2,000? No, it used to be that you would get $1,600. That was moved to $1,700. And there's some work out there trying to move that up to $1,800, $1,900, and then the full $2,000. It's going to remain at $1,700 for the refundable portion in 2025. And the last detail is the annual gift exclusion. That's right. Most years they will increase that amount. And 'tis the season, right? You're probably thinking about year-end gifts, maybe gifts to family members. And for 2024, you could give up to $18,000 a year to anyone, and you don't need to report it as an official gift on a gift tax return. That was and is the annual gift exclusion amount. Well, in 2025, that $18,000 is moving to $19,000. So not an enormous change, but yeah, thankfully not 2.8% increase or whatever. So $1,000 increase, moving it from $18,000 to $19,000 that you can give to anyone without needing to report that gift on a tax return. So those are your updates on tax brackets and some of the deductions and so on, so that you can plan better with your taxes for 2025. We're going to get more details, more announcements about 401k contribution limits and other announcements, Medicare premiums and IRMA limits and all that sort of stuff. 'Tis the season for that too. So as those come out, make sure you stay tuned right here, because I will be sharing that news and how you can plan appropriately for it. So work with your certified financial planner on planning ahead for your taxes. If you don't have a CFP on your team, contact one on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with K, wisemoneyshow.com. You can find us there as well, or give us a call, 574-247-5898. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.